my name's Luke, and in this episode we'll be talking to Charlie Gaskell, who is part of the Altrincham first team strength and conditioning squad. We'll be talking about a few things today. We'll be talking about how he got into strength and conditioning and, what made him choose that career path. And we'll also be talking about his future goals and how he plans on turning it into a reality. So let's get straight into it. So good afternoon, Charlie.
Afternoon, Luke. How are you doing?
Not bad yourself?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, so let's get straight into it. What made you go down the career path of strength and conditioning?
Well, I think I was always interested in it growing up, always going to the gym. I think when the opportunity came up to do a sports science degree, I think I jumped on it, and the opportunity came up for the internship, so I thought I'd just take it.
Yeah, did you go to college?
Yeah, so I didn't actually do any sports at college. I did a lot of business degrees, but I wasn't really interested in it, so I took a year out, just worked, went to the gym all the time, and yeah, the opportunity came to get into the career of sport, and I took it.
Yeah, so what made you choose Altrincham Football Club?
Well, there's a few opportunities. There's one at Altrincham, there's one at Salford as well. A few higher up clubs, but I think the atmosphere of a small club, you get to know everyone, get to know the players on a bit more of a personal level.
Yeah, do you think you could get connections that could take you further in your career?
Yeah, definitely. The head of strength and conditioning at Altrincham at the moment is a really qualified guy. Knows some really high up people in the industry, so it'd be good to get to know them.
Yep. So, what is a day in the life like working with the first team? Like, how does it start in the mornings leading up to the games, or even on trainings?
So it depends on which days it is throughout the week. So on a regular training day, which would be a Tuesday, if they've not got a game, I'd get in. I'd set up everything. I'd set the gym up. I'd set the cones up outside. Then I'd write the session plan for the day. So they'd be in for their prehab, we call it, which is where they'll sort of stretch and mobilise themselves for the football session. Then we'll take them out, do a bit of a ramp warm up. After the football session, during the football session, in fact, we'll set up the GPS. So that records all the distances, speeds, things like that. After that, they'll bring them in. They'll have lunch while we're setting up the gym. We'll get in, and then they'll do a pretty heavy duty session. We do this further away from games, just to manage the fatigue.
Yeah, and then when you get to the actual game itself, is there anything in particular they do first? Is any particular warm up to anything? Yeah,
so it changes. So the volume for the warm up reduces a bit because players run a lot during games. They do about 12, 13k on average during games. That's just the lazy ones.
Yeah. So, what is your favourite part of the job?
I guess it's probably just meeting the players on a more personal level. These are people that people around Altrincham, the fans, look up to, and to work with them, to train them and have conversation with them. It's quite interesting. Yeah,
is there certain players that you like working with more than others, or are they all?
Yeah, there's a player called Eddie Jones. He's a left back like myself, and he just seems to listen really well when I give him any advice, and the players to look up to.
Yeah, is there certain ones that don't listen very well?
I'm not going to name any names, but yeah, there is. Yeah.
Is what makes you think that they don't listen very well? Is there any particular thing that they do in general?
Well, on the GPS, I can see live data from when they're running, and I can see the players that aren't doing as much work as they should be. And then in the gym session, I can see who's putting the effort in and who's not, and they might not think it is, but it's quite obvious when they're not putting the work in.
Do they get any punishment if they don't?
I'm not really in a position yet to punish them because I'm quite new there. But if the head of S&C spotted them, yeah, he'd let them know.
Yeah. So, what experiences do you take out of working with Altrincham Football Club?
I think just seeing how the whole club runs and how a football club at that level runs. Even for a lower league team, it's very well set up. It's very well run, and there's lots of different departments. A lot of people working together to win games, really.
Yeah. So, is there anything that surprised you once joining the club?
I'd probably say the facilities, like turning up to the club on the first day. I wouldn't say I was expecting more, but the facilities are quite basic. Like they train at a regular Saturday league club. They train at Edgerton, and the gym is quite minimal. There's not a lot of equipment, so we really had to figure out how to make do and how to plan sessions around limited equipment. I'd say that was quite a surprise.
Do you feel like obviously there's other clubs in the league who are a lot bigger than Altrincham. Do you feel like their facilities will be a lot bit better?
They will be better, yeah. But you need to keep in mind that Altrincham have been coming up the leagues. They've been on the rise the last few years. So it's inevitable they're going to be smaller than the other clubs. But the way they're going, they're going to keep getting bigger and bigger. The fan base is getting bigger and bigger, and hopefully that should show with the facilities.
Do you think you'd enjoy it more if they did upgrade the facilities and made it? Obviously, would it make your job easier?
It'd definitely make my job easier, yeah. But I wouldn't necessarily think I'd enjoy it more. It's almost like a fun challenge, working out how to base a session around very limited equipment.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, what are your future goals and how do you plan on turning it into a reality?
Well, I'd probably say just making a career out of strength and conditioning or any other sort of part of sports science. After the experience I've got now, I'd probably say moving up to a higher up team. Obviously, there's a lot of good connections at Altrincham, and they could put good references in. They could speak to other people. So if I ever wanted a job at a higher up club, I could try and work that. In terms of strength and conditioning as a degree, I'd have to do a master's to
And a PhD, would it?
Not necessarily a PhD, but it would help if I wanted to move up to a higher up club.
Yeah, and would you be doing work experience with different clubs at the time? Would it not be Altrincham? Would it be another club?
Yeah, it could be Altrincham, depending on sort of how they move as a club. But I think I'd do work experience alongside my degree. Hopefully at a new club as well. Like to get experience in different fields, maybe even different sports.
Would you like to do strength and conditioning for football? Is that what you'd like to do, or is there any other sports? Or
well, football not necessarily. No, it's obviously the sport I've always been most interested in. But there's a lot of sports that are more heavily focused on strength and conditioning. So, for example, rugby, about 50% of their training at least is in the gym. It's not even technical work. So there's a lot more focus around how strong the athletes are, how fast the athletes are. So that'd be quite interesting to see as well.
do you think you've got a long way to go in your career plan? Do you think you've got a long way to go with it?
Well, yeah, of course I've got a long way to go, but I think as a second year uni student, I think I'm probably further ahead than a lot already.
Do you think you're on the right path?
Yeah, definitely. Given that I'm already in the first team at the sort of educational age that I am, I think I'm doing quite well and I'm on the right path to achieving that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. It was good to get a insight into what it's like to be a strength and conditioning coach at that level and what the industry's like as well. Thank you.
Cheers.
So this was my podcast of what it was like to be in the first team for a National League side and also speak about his goals and where he believes his future will go. So yeah, thank you for tuning in once again and we'll see you on the next episode.